Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your other host, Shorty, and today I'm going to be reviewing Above Snakes, which is a strange title and did take a while for it to make sense to me, even inside the comic book, but it's one I quite enjoyed. But there's a few kind of things you need to know before this. As a small comic book store, it's kind of weird for me to go like big risk on something for a new comic book. Most of what we get in store is actually reserved people before it even comes in. 99% of the comic books arrive in store, people never see unless they've ordered them, they go behind the counter. One of the riskiest things I've ever done recently was I ordered like an additional 5 whole copies of Spider-Punk issue 1 and ended up going through all of them and having to order more, and it ended up being a huge thing, and we sold a graded copy. This slightly smaller Image comic book one about a Western with a title that I didn't make a huge sense. I literally ordered one. So we're a small store, and anything we buy and don't sell is money we lose, so I have to be a little bit careful about it. So I don't want people watching this to think you just didn't care about it or you're not backing it. It is always a risk. But that is now my copy. I'm taking it home. I'm ordering another one to arrive next week to put on the shelf, so if anyone wants it, they can actually take a look at it for themselves. But that is mine. I liked it so much, it's now on my pull list, and I've got the rest of it coming in as well. But it wasn't an easy journey to get there. I've read something by Sean Lewis and Hayden Sherman before, those two wonderful people. And it wasn't one that really stayed with me. It wasn't until I got to the end of this comic book and have a previously buy kind of section, and I spotted Thumbs was on there. I remember reading and reviewing Thumbs and being vaguely happy with it, but it was a vague recollection. It wasn't, oh my God, yeah, I remember Thumbs. Thumbs was amazing. It was more, oh yeah, it was an early review I did. I think I did that as a podcast review before I even had a video channel. But I was struggling to remember much about it. And one of the things that did stick me was the artwork wasn't 100% my cup of tea, which may surprise a few of you, because this is a lo-fi, scratchy, stylized kind of bit of artwork. It's over-the-top coloring, scratchy line work, very organic coloring. You'd think this would be exactly what I wanted. But there's times where it looks like the inking is done with a Sharpie, and sometimes it feels like the color palette is like pushed to extremes, and it may not necessarily add to the story. Sometimes it felt like it was just done for the sake of doing bright over-the-top coloring. But I like the story. I did. Sean Lewis is a good writer, and in this one, he's absolutely nailed it. He does a fantastic story of Western revenge, which is exactly what I like. But he throws in what is almost certainly going to be some kind of supernatural element. But he starts it with more of a crypt keeper kind of vibe. Of somebody telling you a story of something that happens, but it turns out that person is actually part of the story, and they're lying to you. The story that they're trying to tell you isn't what we're actually getting, and when you get to it, it is a tale of wanton violence and revenge. But it's not just that. There is like a genuine sense of a self-awareness about it. The idea that there are an awful lot of people in the Old West who just exist to get revenge, and they go meeting up in bars and talk about all the revenge they're going to get, and how many of them are never actually going to get it because they're more interested in the story of themselves being that guy or that woman who is seeking revenge. And then when you do get to the violence, it's brutal and over the top, but it's also kind of silly on occasion. There's a Ballad of Buster Scoggins moment in this, which made me smile, and I really enjoyed it. I like the fact that the supernatural element might actually just be Dirt being a little bit crazy. Oh yeah, the main character, by the way, that's Dirt, and his magic talking vulture Speck, who again might not be real. There's a couple of bits, well, at least one bit I remember, where he doesn't actually speak out loud to the vulture. He's thought bubble, and the vulture responds. And this is a magical vulture that only he can see. It's weird, but I like the fact that it's not a definitive answer of what's going on. Because in terms of the actual story, it does just appear to be some terrible thing happened to his wife, and he's now going to find the people responsible and do a whole bunch of murder. The supernatural element feels like a very nice story device. It reminds me a little bit of the Axe from Barbaric. It's not necessarily just about getting revenge, but also helping people, preferably in ways that would cause an awful lot of bloodshed, because that feeds the bird's soul, I think. But all this happens with the kind of artwork, which, as I said before, in previous stuff had not really landed with me. In this one, it works for me. I think maybe it's because it's the Western kind of thing, and the over-the-top, really bright colors is something I really like. That you've seen a lot of contemporary Westerns, and the fact that the color palette playing around with does come into it. Like, you get really deep, bold, vivid reds when we get to violence, including one particular scene where it's just the word slash in white on a red panel. You don't even see the violence, but it's pure red with just slash in white. But formalism is great in this one. There is a rather wonderful traditional 9-panel page there, and you do see the reds when the violence is going on. Preparing for the violence is not even red. It's the sudden flashes of violence that get the red coloring in there. This seems to be a lot more deliberate choices made in this one. Maybe they were in thumbs. Maybe I should have given it more time and got more into it. But this one, I'm seeing it a lot clearer. And I like the fact that it looks more deliberate and it's working for me. Like straight away, I found myself loving it. And there's also just a genuinely nice panel of somebody being threatened by somebody holding a knife, and all you see of them is their little worried face and the words "wait" or "hold on." Like the thought bubble is part of the reflection. Excellent playing with form through and through. This is a fantastic comic book, and if you're looking for a new Western thriller after Undone by Blood, this could be the one that you go for. I have just enjoyed it from start to finish, and I can't wait for more. That's it for me. I'll be back tomorrow with, I think, possibly the last review of the week. So until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.